hate to break it to you, but if you suck at these 3 skills, AI will replace you sooner rather than later. But if you work to improve these skills, you can increase your chances of staying relevant in this new future of AI. So in this video, we'll talk about the 3 skills that AI can't replace yet, the ones that are more likely to be replaced, and what can happen if you wait too late to learn. First, it's really important that we cover what are the skills that AI is more likely to replace or already has. This one will cause some debate, but we really have to consider what it means to replace something. If we look back at a few history examples, there have been innovations that people thought would replace people for decades. Over 100 years ago, there were inventions that allowed pianos to be programmed to play themselves. And guess what? We still have live piano players today. Drummers thought that the drum machine would replace them. It hasn't at all. Virtual instruments haven't replaced live musicians, and auto-tune hasn't replaced the need for highly skilled and gifted singers, and we love them, but actually gave more people the confidence to sing, no matter whether you think that's good or bad. So replacing is a word we'll use loosely for now. So let's talk about a few of the skills that AI is more likely to replace or at least enhance. 1, playing an instrument. There are tools that exist that allow us to dictate what we want and give us the sound of real instruments played by real people, but it's still a work in progress. And as someone who works as a music technology consultant for companies in AI, I have to pay attention to these things. And I'll tell you right now, playing an instrument is still a cheat code for most producers. 2, audio engineering, specifically recording. This is already becoming more and more of an individual sport. There are free mobile apps where people record themselves all over the world, and people are starting to need to go to a studio less and less, much less need someone else to press record for them. It's a great skill to have as a producer, but I definitely make sure that this isn't the only skill you have besides making beats. 3, mixing. Mixing requires a lot of subjective decisions and nuance. Even though there are tools being developed that will speed this up, I believe taste will still have a say in this part of the creative process. But if you don't have high-end clients that pay you top dollar for that taste, a lot of this process may get bypassed with tools that come with your DAW. 4, mastering. We've had AI mastering tools for many years now. It's already here. If you're working with A-list clients, you're probably okay for a while. However, independent artists are starting to rely less and less on paying other humans for this. I think this will be one of the first skills to be wiped out. Third-party services already do this very well, and now those tools are coming with the actual DAW, free and paid ones. You should understand what mastering takes for sure, but I probably wouldn't spend too much time here if it's not already your specialty, unless you have a unique angle that'll separate you. 5, arranging. And by arranging, I'm referring to how you structure your song from verse to hook to bridge, etc., and the transitions in between. Arranging is very personal. There are formulas and templates in music though. People will rely on those formulas more and more in mass, but the true creatives will always want some flexibility with how the intro, verse, chorus, bridge, etc. interact with each other. Be mindful though. Tools are being created and released every day that make this process easier and easier. Ultimately, AI will quickly automate some of the more technical aspects of the song creation process. The good news is that because we're dealing with music, even a lot of those technical decisions have a creative element involved that human music producers will still be valuable for. So those are the skills that are more borderline for replacement. We still have skills that are much further away from becoming artificial. So in my opinion, the most positive result that AI could create is pushing us to be better humans. I'll circle back to why this is crucial later, but let's get into the goal. What are the 3 skills that AI can't replace yet? The number 1 skill that AI can't replace yet is your taste or your ear. Taste is pretty subjective. I mean, I could hear the same song and have completely different reactions to it. And some humans somewhere made a call about that song to decide that it was the one. Some human decided to include that extra kick drum or not. What I'm talking about here is also how music is relevant to cultural context and awareness. AI primarily references the past and what has already happened. It can't adapt as quickly to changing cultural trends. Yeah, let's take an old example. Nelly's song Air Force Ones back in 2002. Yeah, I know y'all ain't see that coming, but stick with me. Before that song came out, people were already wearing Air Force Ones for decades actually. But Nelly and the Saint Lunatics knew that everybody was wearing and loving the shoes. They had that cultural context and awareness to understand that this was a good time for this particular song. There weren't hundreds of songs about Air Force Ones prior to that, so how would any AI system have been trained to come up with that idea? AI relies on our judgment to decide what works and what doesn't. It relies on our taste, on our ear. How do you continue to improve your taste? Well, as a human, you already have your own taste and your own ear just from living. Pay attention to what's happening in your life, your friend circles, the culture as a whole. Listen, read, watch, observe, learn, study, breathe, meditate. Immerse yourself in diverse artists and genres that aren't related. Go to shows, ask people what they're into. Just live and pay attention. There is no box. And staying out that box is what's going to keep your taste from becoming another reflection of an algorithm. The number 2 skill that AI can't replace yet, interpersonal skills. Collaboration is key. Effective communication is absolutely critical when collaborating with other artists, musicians, or even fans, especially in person. Yes, AI can communicate. It can talk to us, but does it see us? Can it really read our nonverbal communication yet? Our body language. I mean, look, it's being developed. I'm not naive and in denial about that, but I strongly believe that this is one part of the equation that humans will have an advantage in for a while. Make sure you know how to communicate with people. How do you continue to improve your interpersonal skills? Well, I actually studied this in college since my media production degree was under the communications department. And I can tell you that this one takes some work, especially for a lot of studio producers. But here's a couple of things to start. Actively listen. Pay close attention to artists' concerns and their ideas. And this will create the trust that separates you from something artificial. It's a very human act. Communicate clearly. We need to be able to articulate our ideas simply and clearly. It's not about trying to sound smart. It's about transferring an idea from our mind to theirs. Again, a very human act. And these are just a couple of examples of ways to work on our interpersonal skills and keep the human connection strong. Now, let's go further. The number 3 skill that AI can't replace yet, and in my opinion is a long way away from, emotional intelligence. This goes for people and the music. It's related to interpersonal communication, but goes a level deeper. What about empathy? What about reading the room, self-awareness? Music is very much about expressing your emotions and giving your music a personal touch, telling stories. Sometimes emotions even conflict with each other, and you need to express a love song over aggressive music or vice versa. AI doesn't currently live a human life and experience such complex emotions. It can only mimic the emotions of humans through its data it's trained on. Reading in between the lines takes some living. Keep your humanness intact. It'll be an X factor soon. This is a skill that we can develop through mindfulness, being still and quiet enough to recognize and understand our own emotions. We can put ourselves in situations to challenge our emotional responses and then reflect on those experiences to grow our emotional intelligence over time. These are skills that will take AI the longest to master, in my opinion. And these skills will become more and more valuable as they become scarce. Now, naturally, you may be thinking, well, what do we do if AI learns these skills too? Well, I'd argue that it's already trying. I work with music tech companies and their AI projects. I have to learn and understand where the trends are headed and what's possible. I think that the real question is about how quickly people will adopt these technologies. But the truth is, music will always be a way to connect with other people, human people. And as long as people want that connection, I believe humans and human music producers will be a critical part of the creative process. Besides, for now, AI systems are still designed by human people. Now, if you're working with artists and you want to ensure that you develop more of the practical skills that will actually keep you relevant, I can help. There are definitely some specific habits you want to start implementing now so that artists will continue to come back to you despite where AI technology goes. Many of the artists I've worked with come back to me for not just multiple songs, but multiple albums over years and years. If you want to learn how to apply these practical skills, download my free Repeat Artist Clients Guide right now. This free guide will teach you the 3 immediately actionable skills that you need to get repeat artist clients to come back to you every time. How to tap into the side of artists most people ignore, and the best way to establish respect and credibility with artists. This will make sure you have a better chance to become their trusted advisor throughout your career. So go ahead and download the free guide now at KTGotBeats.com/repeat clients. Okay, let's get down to the real question. What can happen if we wait too late to learn these skills? It's pretty simple. If all we can do is provide a few beats via email, those beats better always be spectacular, amazing, game-changing beats. If not, we'll become a commodity. What does that mean? Well, a couple of things. For one, people will just focus on our price. Are we cheaper? If not, they'll move on. Without the relationship, it's just business. Another side effect of not learning these important skills and becoming a commodity is this. People will limit our creative freedom. They are no longer hiring us for our perspective and input, just the end result. Conversations will go more like, here's what I want. make this and nothing else. And part of the reason we get started as music producers is for creative freedom. We don't want this to become our lives. Another side effect of becoming a commodity, we lose negotiation power. When people don't truly value our skills, we end up in a weaker negotiating position because our services are interchangeable. Another, we no longer stand out as a producer. Becoming a commodity means people won't see us as any different than our peers. With AI becoming better and better at creating the end result, our ability for taste and connection are gonna become essential. And probably the saddest part, becoming a commodity will have an impact on our personal satisfaction. We can lose our sense of value, our motivation, and ultimately our creativity. Unlike computers, we need a sense of fulfillment and purpose from the music we create. This is why our taste, our interpersonal skills, and our emotional intelligence can be the skills that keep us in the game for a long time. The solution is actually counterintuitive. Become a better human and we'll be more relevant. But if you want these skills to last, you have to make sure that you understand the #1 guaranteed way to predict producer failure. Watch this next video to find out.